Every time I do one of these, I wonder, what's going to happen in the next 10 minutes because everything is moving like lightning speed. So this is going to be a different kind of a breakdown as far as what's happening in the AI space, and I hope you enjoy it. Now, of course, one of the biggest problems that we're watching out there is not enough compute. So what they're doing is they're planning out getting money slotted for these massive data centers. And then you have people on both sides of it say, oh my God, it's going to ruin the environment. It's going to waste all the water. We're not going to have anything to drink. It's going to suck all the energy from the power grids in these different areas they're being put in. And I just to kind of give you an idea, I have a 4090 machine, a 3090 machine, and yeah, they get hot. And that's only two. And they're nothing fancy. Fancy would be running Blackwell stuff. That's way above my pay grade. But just these two little machines make this office 85, 90 degrees, and they have lots of fans and all this fancy stuff. Yes, they're air cooled, but looking at these massive data centers that are water cooled, I just can't imagine how much heat those things must generate. Plus noise. These fans sometimes become quite a bit, but those, oh my God. Anyway, so we're watching this happen. And part of that story comes out where the government itself is now saying, you know what, we don't have enough compute, the NSA, CIA, all these top secret government organizations, so now they need more. So, of course, remember Anthropic, the villain back in the day, because they didn't want to do, at least in public view, they didn't want to do the government's bidding. Remember, they said that the government had a particular type of loyalty it wanted to be given to it if, in fact, they were going to use these companies. But then Anthropic did a pushback, and that changed the whole game as far as ranking. I think you saw that. And it was, whether it was all manipulated just to get us to buy into it or whether it was true, who knows? And you should look at everything like that. We don't know what the bigger picture is, some of us. Some of you, I should say. Me, I feel like a box of rocks most days. But some of you probably really have it figured out. And I get comments on my YouTube videos by some of you very special people. And you have a lot of insight. I haven't seen it play out yet. And even with the things you tell me, I take with a grain of salt. But I doubt my own self and my own motives all the time. So it's not like there's a secret. I'm not better than anybody. I'm just trying to give out information from maybe a different perspective. But the short is, today's frontier AI models require so much processing power that agencies like CIA, NSA can't secure enough physical microchips to run their top secret networks, right? So the bailout to avoid falling behind global adversaries, White House just approved a secret $9 billion emergency fund dedicated to building federal data centers. So Anthropic, and this will get to Anthropic in a second, the irony to bridge the immediate gap, spy agencies have authorized to use models from Anthropic. Well, remember Anthropic was, I think, said it was a national security supply chain threat. Remember that came out. It's interesting that now that kind of changed because, well, out of necessity. The government needs it. And it's interesting that now they're going back to Anthropic. And it's also interesting that Anthropic is now aligned with Musk, at least for data centers, because they have Colossus, apparently all of Colossus 1, which I guess is mega huge, and then part of Colossus 2. And I have to say, I feel it. Maybe it's placebo. Like when I first started taking testosterone, it took a while, but at the beginning, when you start doing that stuff, you already feel great, even though there's no way biologically this stuff could have kicked in. It takes weeks to really get your body adjusted. Same thing here. Whenever they switched over, and whenever I heard the news break about Anthropic being in with Colossus 1 and part of Colossus 2 data centers, it seemed like my experience had improved with regard to using Claude. Interesting. But government irony is off the chart. So it doesn't really matter. It's all a show. I think behind the scenes, everybody's hugging, kissing babies, slapping hands and high-fiving each other. And on the surface, it does a great job keeping us humans distracted. Not that they're not humans, but well, there's a lot to unpack there. But again, very interesting. So then something else that happened a couple days ago. Okay, I'm not a mathematician. You probably figured it out. you look at some people that have dedicated their lives to a particular discipline, and then you have a machine come in and fix it or solve it or remedy it. And maybe the solution was in front of your eyes the whole time, but you were just too close to see it. And you were so special in your space that there was nobody around you that could have offered anything. And sometimes, maybe in your life, and I've seen this, somebody walks up looking at something from an entirely different angle, says something stupid, walks away, and then you're looking at the same problem, and then your cogs in your head start to readjust, and taking in what they said, you do a readjustment. So you start looking at this problem that has plagued you for all these years. And just some stupid comment gets you to change your whole paradigm, and you solve it. Well, you have mathematics. You have people that don't just have a simple problem. They have something that they've been struggling with all this time. AI is starting to solve these things. And I don't know if of course, that's a good thing, but these poor people, what's happened? The Erdos unit distance conjecture. I heard Alex Weisner-Gross talked about this. Yeah, big brain stuff. But May 20th, OpenAI announced that an internal reasoning model autonomously disproved a famous 1946 math puzzle. The model was not trained on a specific problem, it did not receive an existing solution, and no human guided its steps. Given just the initial problem statement, AI produced a flawless 125-page proof using algebraic number theory, a highly complex method of human mathematicians haven't even considered applying to a geometry issue. Yeah. Okay, great. Let's move on. All right. 1946, the year the puzzle was posed. So this is beyond regurgitation. I put this together. This is the moment we officially move past AI just regurgitating human knowledge. Now, so AI, right, based on the best next guess for that next number, that next phrase, that next word, because it has all the data, or a lot of the data, almost all of it, I would assume. And it's able to guess, if John has a long, well, you could say a lot, but typically in that statement, it might be mustache. Clowns wear something shoes. Clowns wear big shoes sometimes. But it just depends, and that's how these models are trained. Now it's starting to come up with solutions that haven't existed before. I think that's the detach from where we saw a very smart, highly computational type of program put together and being able to talk to us, feeling somewhat human, somewhat conscious. Now it's actually solving major problems. And here is one. Here is one such example. I would hope that this also applies to medicine, because those are some very serious problems we face in the pharmaceutical and medical world. Some of the medicines that we give to cure disease are more dangerous in theory than the disease. The things that we're giving people to drop fat, these GLP-1 drugs, they are maybe over time are going to be proven to be a problem. Right now, they don't seem to be, but you hear the rumblings on some of the scientists looking at how they actually affect the body, and you have people that are, quote unquote, falling out of love because they're having their dopamine reward system blunted. And that's the way, apparently, from what at least I understand, that's the way that the process works when you start taking these. Food loses its glory. Food loses its hierarchy in your brain. So I was a real fat guy. I had a 65-inch waist, almost 400 pounds. Okay, so there's that. When I was at that weight, I mean, food had a whole different view than it has now. Now, it still has a pretty high ranking in my world. I just now choose to be a little bit more picky when it comes to eating it. I used to, in the super big fat days, I would sneak stuff all the time. And even as an adult in my 50s, I would buy stuff and eat it before anybody else knew out of sheer embarrassment. It's embarrassing to choke down 16 tacos. The number always gets bigger. At least 14 tacos from Jack in the Box. 2 large curly fries, 2 large Oreo cookie shakes, right? Or extra large, whatever the biggest size they had of everything. It's embarrassing. You can't take that down around people that kind of look up to you and sit there and just devour it. So anyway, I ate it on the slide. So now there isn't any of that. Whatever I eat, I want to eat it in front of the glory of the world. Whatever I do, especially now, and you should wrap your mind around this regarding privacy, whatever you do, understand that you're always being watched, you're always being recorded, you're always being looked at. So there is really no privacy. Even in the comfort of your own home, you have devices around you that are constantly waiting for your inquiry, waiting for your announcement so they can activate and then help you further. Well, in order to wait for a particular set of words like, hey Siri, she didn't answer. Anyway, or she. Yeah, there you go. See? That's a problem. But it wasn't listening now, but usually it picks up. So it's constantly thinking. And then if you notice with regard to mentioning some kind of a product or service, if you do that within earshot or you have a discussion with somebody that's close to you and you guys start talking about a particular product or service, you start to see it show up in your feed. AI slop era, how generated content is flooding Amazon, Spotify, and even peer review sites. Talked to my better half this morning. We had a conversation, and she asked the question, do you believe they're still going to monetize YouTube channels? I don't know anything about that. None of my stuff ever gets knocked out of the park to be monetized. And it's a hunt, right? We're trying to put out that one piece that, like Gary V says, that, is going to make us completely famous. Well, I'm waiting. And maybe I just need to up my game. Maybe I need to change things. But, I have my style and I'm happy with it. And the 5 people that watch, they're happy with it too. But we were talking about if there's still going to be monetization in place for these YouTube people. Well, right now, YouTube is learning from all the videos that are posted on there, what people like, what people don't like. So it's that massive data set that they're going to be able to use to start making, and they probably already do, but start making their own content that it competes with the users of the platform. And then at some point, as we move on, as artificial intelligence gets smarter, then there's not going to be really any need for any human-generated content. I know that might put you back a little bit, but music and consciousness and empathy, I believe these are, at least in particular realms, they can be copied or mirrored. And us humans, once it gets to a particular level of wherewithal, probably won't be able to tell. That's the same thing with this AI-generated content or slop. Right now it's cute, but right now that cute keeps us engaged for a long time. And the game is engagement. The game is keeping us glued to the box and watching the things on our phone or the things on our computers or whatever it may be more and more times so they can what? Make money, so they can sell to us or so they can achieve some kind of an agenda. Maybe political, maybe AI alignment, maybe AI misalignment, maybe something else. But there's bigger powers at play here. And I'm not one of those guys that wears the aluminum foil, tin foil, some kind of foil on my head. Not like Mel Gibson in the movie, and I get that. That must have been horrible. But I'm not that way. I think this could be just the most amazing thing that's ever happened to all of us. My only issue is you got humans in there. And besides humans are necessary, but what humans, right? There might be some of us that don't like particular humans. I don't know if I want those humans that I don't like heading up this system and AI, making it safe or not making it safe. We didn't vote for any of those humans. And maybe the people that have been voted in, we didn't vote for them either. So now we're concerned. Now there's agendas. There's always has been agendas. From the very beginning in the garden, there was an agenda. And they decided that they wanted to be knowledge, to have all the knowledge. And that was it. So no more garden. And then it all began, if that's where you believe the beginning was. But there's been a fight since the beginning of who gets what. I'm going to take this because I can't get it myself, so I'm just going to force it out. And this seems to happen with human beings. Now we have a greater than us intelligence. And this greater than us intelligence is potentially, going to be greater than us. So the bookshelf, a massive new data report shows exactly how fast AI is flooding our digital lives. Over 50% of new ebooks published on Amazon now contain AI text. We're going to see this happening more and more. We're going to see some kind of a system built out that is able to identify. No, it's going to be mandatory. If you want to be ranked for something on some kind of a video, you have to come to Jesus on the origination of it. If you used AI and like I used AI, not all of this, but I used AI to put together this little slide deck here. I asked AI to put it together for me, so it popped in the images. The idea for the story was mine, and then I parsed out all the top news articles that they put together, and I found the ones I thought would be most interesting for you guys out there. And you can do the same. See, you can go into your favorite AI. This one I use Gemini. Claude is another favorite of mine. OpenAI as well. I kind of bounce back and forth within all three of those, just to kind of get an idea. And yes, I'll also use the Chinese models, DeepSeek, just to kind of get a different variation of some kind of a truth. Whether it's real truth or fake truth, everybody's saying that they have the solution. The playlist. So the point from that little rant earlier was that at some point we're just going to be consumers, probably not creators. Maybe there'll become a point when humans are going to want to get stuff just from other humans. So then there'll be a different verification layer that says this was 100% human-generated content. See, now the focus is on AI-generated content. So that's what's going to have a verification layer. And that's going to happen probably more sooner than later. In fact, probably the next hundreds of millions dollar startup, $1 billion startup is going to come up with the way to make that happen and to get their system, whatever that is, like Anthropic's MCP, which pulled out a Tron. It stands for different things, but it's amazing. Moving that into the verification layer, and then theirs becoming that famous worldwide used model. I'm sure that's coming. That's going to be the verification layer for AI. In the future, there'll probably be another layer, and I'm probably before time on this, that's going to be a human verification layer. So it also endorses the 100% human-generated content. Like, this is all me on video. I don't modify or smooth myself out. It's an Anchor work webcam. I have another one, but this one I kind of like because it lets a little bit more light in. So this, I don't change this. Usually I don't cut stuff out either unless I screw things up, but usually I just talk beginning to end and go through, and if I screw things up, well, I'm sorry, but I think that makes it more real. All right, we're going to watch as content in the future is probably going to be 100% AI generated for us. Content fatigue, I was putting this together. It's setting in rapidly. Digital platforms prioritize sheer volume. Finding genuine human crafted art and writing is becoming more and more difficult. I mean, that many books with some kind of AI generation, and you can go do it too. You can go write a book all generated by AI and post it on there. I know when you do Kindle Direct Publishing, I think it is, with Amazon, when you go and you do that, there is a section in there when you're putting together the book at the beginning, and maybe it's better now. Well, it's not even bad. It's easy now. So you can do this. But there's a section in there that has something that you check off. AI was used, I guess, in the production of this book or whatever it may be. So that's a choice you can make. I don't know if you lie there what happens. I've always said, yeah, because I'll have AI check something. I'll have AI produce particular chapters. Maybe organize things. I love the organization it does in some layer. And I'm not a writer, so I have to... the one person that bought the book, thank you very much, and you know it. I'm sorry. The chaos prompt injecting peer reviews is hilarious, but it highlights a massive vulnerability. We're trusting automated systems to regulate automated spam. And of course, the premium, the world drowning in synthetic slop verified human curation, expertise, analog experiences are about to become the ultimate premium commodity. Yeah, and that was something else that I think is to consider. The human value, it's going to be there. We're right at the beginning of this, so we're not tired of it yet. Some of us may be because we're in this every day, all day long, and we have been since 2022. And some people go back even before that when they had access. But our big moment came when OpenAI dropped out for the public to see, and that was kind of the beginning. We're going to watch. There's going to be more advertisement put on this stuff. We're going to also be pitched to a lot better than we are now, and that's something else. Is it really fair that they come after us and they hit us in our own particular places of weakness? If they're trying to sell to me They know from all the data that they have of me online, my interactions, what I look at, what I do, what keys I punch on the keyboard, how I interact with a computer, and all these different social media systems and everywhere else. That data is gotten back to some AI somewhere that has a complete profile built on me, plus whatever work I'm doing on Claude or ChatGPT or one of these other systems in Gemini. It knows about me. You go into your large language model and you say, hey, tell me a little bit about myself. What do you know? And it gives a pretty good spiel of information. From there, them advertising for you, people paying for that data, well, it's already there and it's coming even more. Is there going to be rules against that? It would be interesting if the entire advertising and marketing world had nothing to do with the way that we, particularly on our own particular level, searched and did things, but actually it was specifically for everybody, not for just one specific person. So more general type advertising and marketing, would that be less dopamine spikes? Would that cause the human race to calm down a little bit and not be so anxious? Well, never had a problem with anxiety, but some people live in that world and it's very difficult to maintain, I would imagine. All right, I'm Connor McIver. Be good to each other. You can go to connorwithhonor.com and see more about me. I'd love to help if I can at some point. You be safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.